Can somebody remind me where we are? What shloka number we are in? 12th खत्म कर दिया? Thank you. 13th we have to start. How many of you do not understand Hindi? 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, thank you, sir. You don't?
I think I do understand.
Because I tend to think in Hindi and translate into any other language that I speak. So it comes out naturally that my first reaction or anything spontaneous comes in Hindi, and then I'll have to keep searching for a translation in English. Okay. Quite a few. Dangerously also. 13th shloka, repeat after me. Sarva karmani manasa sanyasyaste sukham vashi navadvare pure dehi naiva kurvanna karayan. Let me tell you a story. There were two monks, two sannyasis, crossing a river. As they were crossing, there were others also who were attempting at crossing it. There was no boat, so they were walking it across. And a woman who thought that she could cross slips and falls and almost is drowning. So one of these younger monks jumps in, swims across, picks her up, takes her across to the other side. And the older sannyasi, who is by the book, starts censuring this younger one. Have you forgotten that you are a monk? Have you forgotten your sannyasa dharma? You should not be touching women. How did you forget that? And he kept censuring him, scolding him. And they both go to the ashram. They reach the ashram. The first thing that the older sannyasi does is to the Guruji complains about this younger one who has just been initiated and who has broken the rule or law, that he has carried this woman across. He has touched. He has broken the sannyasa law, sannyasa dharma. And the Guruji looked at the older one and said, he seems to have dropped that lady at the banks of the river. You seem to have been carrying it all the way long. Best jokes are those which are like shot at oneself, right? अच्छा सन्यासी के ऊपर है, चलो बोलो. sometimes most jokes that come across are on husband and wife. For a change, it is on a sannyasi today. So we tend to carry a lot of burden, a lot of stuff, unnecessarily emotionally tangled, and that junk, that bulk, we carry it in our head, we carry it in our hearts. There's a lot of Vedanta that happens, with enough humor intended, in the airplane instructions as soon as you board. How many of you travel frequently? So you will switch off your mind as soon as you get into the airplanes, because you keep listening to it so regularly that you don't even pay attention to it, right? But if you do remember, do you know the sequence of instructions that are given? What is the first instruction, next instruction? So even before the seat belt, there's a courtesy that as soon as you have reached to your seat, go inside and don't be standing in the aisle blocking the rest of them to flow. First instruction. Second instruction is put your seat belts on. Third instruction is that the captain has given the seat belt sign on, therefore turn your devices into the airplane mode. Right? What is the fourth instruction? Oh no, that is the last one. Last one is there is a card which has all these instructions right in front of you. Read them and follow them. That's the last one. एग्जिट से पहले भी बहुत है यार.
Spread your seats. Put your seats in the right position.
Okay, we are, as a family, we are covering all the points, though not in sequence. Make sure that the luggage is stored, and the heavier one under the seat will in front of you, and the lighter ones on the top. We do exactly opposite. And it's not something that I mean, I myself am guilty. I put the heavier one on the top and the lighter one bottom under the seat in front of me, just because the space that they give, especially if somebody is as tall as me, it's hardly a space. And you put the heavier one down, sir ke upar lagaye pair? Where do we take our feet then? So the instructions about luggage. And then they say the best part is the oxygen. When the internal air pressure reduces, the air mass will drop. Though it may not inflate, air is flowing. Breathe normally, put it on yourself first, and then assist anybody who requires assistance. Once there was a small kid, 10, 12 years old, and he heard that instruction, and he turns to his mom and says, "That's so rude." Because the instruction always is given like, help others first. And here is a different instruction given, that you put yours first on and then help others. So there's a lot of Vedanta in that. If you want to have a safe flight, if you want to have a good experience, the space that is provided for you, maintain it well. First thing that you have to do is unload yourself of all the baggage that you have brought in, unburden yourself. Then secure yourself. But for many of us, the security is in holding on to the burden. The moment you let it go, there is a sense of insecurity that builds in. Sarva karmani manasa sanyasyaste sukham vashi. Your sukha is in your own ability, one's own ability to be able to unburden oneself. Unburden our own insecurities that we keep clinging on to. Are there any avid Star Trek fans here? Oh, quite a few. There is one particular species, or I don't know what they call them. They're called Klingons. Do you remember? Do you know who they are? They're always the enemy, right? They're always the bad people. They're always the enemies. That would be a right word to say. They're always the enemies. Do you know technically who they are? Ourselves. Ourselves. And because we become Klingons, we are our own worst enemies. We keep clinging on to all the unnecessary stuff. Proof? See your own garage. Garage is a good display of or a sample of our own mind. What stuff we have there. Necessary, unnecessary, useful, useless. It's a junkyard. And there is stuff sitting there for months and months and months. Years. Thank you for correcting me. As they say, one person's trash is other person's treasure. The wife wants to throw away something, husband says, dare you. And the other way around also works. The other way around is not in the garage, it is in the closet. Right? Now the husbands are all clapping. First round was the women clapping. So much of stuff that we keep clinging on to. Glad that I shifted from this house to that house. Anyway, this is going to be pulled down. There's so much that I left behind. Sanyasyaste sukham vashi. And Adi Shankaracharya ji takes this to a totally different level. He says, who is the happiest one? Kaupinavantaha khalu bhagyavantaha. The one who has the only treasure or only thing that he holds on to is a kaupin. Kaupin is the langot. Nothing else. That's it. But Swamiji, we are grihastas. Kaupin पहन के निकलेंगे तो लोग मारेंगे. क्यों भाई? यहाँ पे भी पहनते हैं. You know, most of the brand names, especially I love the one with Gap. It sells what it is named for. More of gaps and less of cloth. They are almost equivalent to Kaupina only. Kaupinavantaha khalu bhagyavantaha is the most happiest one. There, what he intends is not about what you are wearing, it is about the ability to drop, unburden all that we cling onto. And where is this clinging happening? In our own mind. As much that we cling on to, that much we are secure. But that is the very cause for our restlessness. That is the very cause wherein we get bound, we get caught. Have you ever seen the street show of monkeys? Bol Raju, Rani se shadi karega. And wearing a tuxedo kind of a thing, that monkey comes and with a stick and a cap and removes the cap. शादी के लिए पैसे हैं? Do you have enough money for your marriage? Then he does some monkey tricks and goes around with his cap for all the janta standing there. And why is he collecting that money? शादी के लिए, for the wedding. But has anybody seen or has anybody witnessed how they catch the monkey before they train it? बंदर है, बेवकूफ नहीं है. They may be monkeys, but they are not that dumb. Especially if you go to places like Vrindavan, they are so smart. If you leave your chappal outside before you take darshan, they'll not take both chappal. They'll take one chappal only. Because they know with the other one down there, it is useless. So if you have to get it back, you have to give them chana. They have a count. If it is a chappal, it is 4 packets of chana and 6 bananas. If it is your purse, then it is 1 dozen bananas and 10 packets of chana. And these are not trained by anybody. They are naturally that way. You cannot lure them with food. There's a trick. Once I was in a rural part of India. I had gone there for lectures. And the house that they had given me, a room that they had given me, right on the top, it was a mud roof kind of a old village structure. There's a chaos of all these monkeys. So I went upstairs to see as to what was happening on the roof. I saw in the next door there was a group of monkeys and there was enough chaos happening. I stood there watching as to what was exactly happening. There was this glass jar, a big enough glass jar with lots of nuts in it. And it was for those nuts that these monkeys were going nuts. And how was the glass jar? It was fixed to the floor, that the monkeys could not carry it away. It was fixed to the floor. And the mouth was a long, thin mouth. Like the whole jar suddenly becomes funneled, becomes very thin. It's long. So the monkey, the whole height of the jar is this big. The neck is this long and the jar is this much. So the monkey puts its hand, the hand goes in, takes the nuts, and when it is trying to pull its hand out, because it is already in a fist form, it is caught. And all the monkeys are now irritated that this fellow is taking too long to pull his share of nuts, and they're trying to pull him, push him, and that fellow is freaking out because there is somebody holding on to his hand. And pretty soon the fellow who catches the monkey comes, shoos away the rest of them, whacks this monkey until it drops the nuts and captures the monkey. We have become detailed. According to Darwinian theory, we have lost our tail somewhere down the lane. But the mindset has not changed. It's the same problem typically that we also carry. Isn't it? We think that the samsara is holding on to us. Who is it that is actually holding on to it? And then make a statement that This is so painful and this is so burdensome that this is so. If it is that burdening, open your fist and pull your hand out. But where is that monkey's sukha? In those nuts? Will it let it go? So I was once with this great sadhu in Varanasi, and we were all about 15-20 of us sadhus sitting in that hall, and we were having some very traditional book discussion that was happening. It was in chaste Hindi or Sanskrit. It was in a very high flown Vedanta language was being used. I was enjoying it. Just as our discussion, first round of discussion came to a conclusion, then a grihastha came in, a Sethji who was sponsoring the lunch for us, and did namaskar to this main sadhu who had organized this. And as soon as this Sethji got up, the Mahatma ji also did Sashtang Dandavat Pranam to this Sethji. And the Sethji was suddenly taken aback, and he was a little shocked. So looking at his shocked face, the sadhu, the Mahatma ji, he asked, "Why did you prostrate to me?" He asked the Seth, "Sethji, आपने नमस्कार क्यों किया?" So the Sethji thought for a while, and he had already been stumped with this act of his. So he was picking his answer very carefully. Kuch tyag diya. You have left everything, and for that tyaga, for that renunciating act of yours, I am offering my namaskar. So the Sadhu Mahatma, he also said, it is exactly for the same reason, looking at the greater renouncement that you do, is that I am offering my prostrations. The Sethji said, what did I renounce? He said, I renounce the world for God, but you are renouncing God for the world. So who is greater? The one who renounces the greater stuff? So your renouncement is greater than mine. The point being, the one who gives up the internal quietude, the internal peace for some momentary pleasures, and then complain that the world is not pleasurable enough, they are ridden with constant burdens. But the one who is willing and ready to give these small temporary pleasures up for something permanent and substantial within, such one, sukham vashi, their sukha is under their control. So Gurudev's quotation on this was that do not put the keys of your happiness in somebody else's pocket. Would you ever do that? But that is exactly what we do. With the fistful captured and caught up in that bottle, and then complain that everything is so binding and you're bound in it and feel the bondage and the pain of it. And what is the constant complaint? Sab kuch chhod chhad ke. I don't know when it will happen. I'm waiting for that day when all this thing will be done, and then I'll be happy. Where is the actual chhod chhad happening? Or should happen? In our head. Until that chhod chhad happens, the chhed chhad of the world We'll continue. The choice is ours. Now, in order to develop that kind of a mindset, the basic foundation for any serious, sincere seeker, it starts from self-discipline. Navadvare pure dehi naiva kurvan na karayan. At the beginning of this chapter, we read those two shlokas. Do you remember? Almost sounds like a rap song. Pashyan shundvan sprushan jigran ashnan gachan spapan swashan pralapan visrajan grinhan unmishan nimishan napi. Fourth, fifth shloka. देखो भाई एक बार. They're like, हाँ आपने बोला तो होगा ही. If you say so, it may be there. Where will it go away? Bhagavad Gita has been there for ages. Fourth, fifth shloka will be there only. Did you see it? Find it? And what was the crux of those two shlokas? The crux was 90% or 99% of our life happens through the interactions of these organs of perception and action. There is no doership involved. Seeing happens, hearing happens. The environment here, the atmosphere here, do you feel hot or cold or pleasant? Right? Is there a doership? Maza aa raha hai. Any doership involved there? No. The skin is feeling it through the skin. I know that this is a pleasant environment. There is no doership involved. If I may extend the example, I am speaking and the listening is happening. Sorry, the hearing is happening. There is also no doership. बोलता है बोलने दो ना. You drive, there is so much that you see. There is no doership involved. It is that 1% wherein we become so focused and the fist has gone into the hand has gone into the bottleneck. And there we get caught up. That 1% is what we have to change our mindset in. If that 1% of life is changed, happiness and peace of mind, which is our birthright, will be experienced. I've asked this question many times. Let me see if you remember the answer. Otherwise, think of it as a new question and try to answer it. A simple question, okay? This is not a question on your motives or anything. Simple question. Why are you all in this hall?
There's no doership.
I'm glad it is so. For satsang.
Last time you asked, it was very cold. Now it's very answer is different. Last time you said for peace.
By choice. No. Oh, because the kids are still in the class. See, all these answers are right. But look at it from this perspective as well. You're all here because we opened the gates. We opened the door. If we had the doors locked, would you have been inside? Now, after you are inside, if I am like, pata nahi kyun aaye, I should have locked the doors. right? Similarly, what goes inside to disturb is not because of that person, that thing, or that experience that is disturbing. It is because we have unconsciously allowed that person, that thing, or that environment, or that experience to cling inside, hold inside. We keep holding on, which is what is creating the problem. To uncling, to unclutch, to unclutter, it is not the environment, it is not the person, it is not the experience, it is not the thing. It is your mindset wherein it has to drop. It is your mindset wherein you have to uncling. It doesn't matter where you are, it doesn't matter who you are with. That unburdening mindset has to be created. Take life sincerely, but we rather take life seriously. Because we become very sensitive. Instead, we should become sensible. Sensitivity is a disease. There's a toothpaste for sensitive teeth. Right? अबे मैं उसका marketing नहीं कर रहा हूँ. My purpose is that sensitive teeth, sensitivity, isn't it a disease? But it has become a normal, language interaction. We often say, "Oh, that person is not sensitive." Blessed is that person who is not sensitive. It is not sensitivity that is required or important. It is being sensible that is required. We become sensitive because we take things seriously. Somebody said, Swamiji, आप कभी serious ही नहीं होते हो. True. Because seriousness comes with a pressure. And what makes the effort sincere is the ability to go through the experience without creating a baggage out of it, without creating a burden out of it. And that mindset has to be changed. There is no trick, there is no taviz, there is no amulet, there is no other shortcut to change the mindset other than consciously working at finding that which I am clinging on to and remove all those clinging agencies. There is no shortcut for it. Reading 108 times Hanuman Chalisa will suddenly not change that mindset. Doing upvas for 13 days, 15 days, 100 days, it's not going to change. It has to be consciously worked at. Doing your puja will not bring that kind of peace unless you change this mindset. If somebody out there promises that your restlessness and your burden and the pressure can be eased if you buy something from them or take something from them, understand they are making a good fool out of you. There is no other simpler words or sugar-coated words that I can say it in. There are enough out there. How many of you have Indian channels? I have not seen TV in about 7 years now, but you all have Indian channels at home? So, do they still advertise that Ajmeri Baba, Chamunda Swami? They still advertise? Haji? Baba, new one in. Okay. So what do they say? That if you have, if your job is failing, if your relationships are strained, your Various such failures all packed together. If you have, call this 044 number. It is a UK number. And all these people are from UK. So my understanding is, my belief is that they must be 4 friends or 4 brothers working out of the same office room, catering to different religious backgrounds or mindsets. यार तू मुसलमानों को देख ले, मैं हिंदुओं को देख लूंगा, मैं इनको देख लूंगा, सब मिलके इकट्ठा करते हैं. And all of them sell these kinds of amulets and taweez and things. Once I was with Guruji, and this elderly Amma wanted to see something on the TV, and she was watching, and suddenly this some Ajmeri Baba advertisement was on air, and Guruji suddenly turned and was looking at it. At that time I was still Brahmachari, Uddhav Chaitanya. So, "Arey Uddhav, number laga?" I picked my phone. I was still skeptical. And you really want me? Number laga, jaldi laga. So I punched in the number, and then Guruji goes to say that for all the problems in life, if they have solution, what are we doing? Let us take dealership from them and sell it in all our mission centers, if that really works. But we become so desperate in our caught up situation that anything that anybody wants to throw at us, we become desperate enough to become suckers. Because those things will not change your mindset. One stone here for Rahu, one stone here for Ketu, one stone here for Mangal, one stone here for Shani, one stone for here. Now, I'm not saying that the minerals of those stones does not have an effect, but that will not guarantee the peace of mind that you're looking for. It comes in with a conscious effort to discipline oneself and change that mindset. There's no shortcut to it. And somebody, I think I have said this earlier, somebody said, "Swamiji, put your hands on my head." Why? You do lot of sadhana, the positive vibrations will go into me and it will give me some peace of mind. Arey Baba, if it were true, I'll keep both my hands, both my legs on my own head. Why on yours? The only person that I know who wanted to keep his hands on somebody's head was Bhasmasur. I don't have such skills. So let us wake up from the slumber and stop hurting ourselves unconsciously. Sanyasyaste sukham vashi. You have been dying to ask a question. Puchiye. Why does the mind cling to all these limited negative kind of stuff? Because it gives instant pleasure. And those instant pleasures make a habit. And because of that habit, we are not ready to let go. So consciously working at it is to realize that that instant pleasure is like taking a shot of Red Bull or a 5 energy drink, that which gives you a spike of energy. But as soon as that energy effect is gone, you feel a drain. So it appears as if you are more in the pit rather than on the high. So stop hurting yourself. Now, when the answer becomes so simple, you don't like it. It has to be something convoluted, complicated, and I can make the answer look like that also. The crux of this problem is only this. Because of the instant pleasure that it can churn out, and it immediately gratifies, though it is not long lasting, we want to repeat it as often so that the mind is in that high. It's similar like why people have daru. It's a similar effect why people have drugs. The same kind of an addictive habit through the things, beings, situations, and experiences. Same problem. Haji? No, I don't think we know. We hear. We don't process it. We don't process it enough to make it a conscious impact on our uh, unconscious or subconscious. We don't process it. As soon as we step outside in next 30 seconds, all that which has been heard here, see, when people get up, so actually what they're doing is not resetting their clothes. It is all the Vedanta that may have fallen on them. यहीं पे झटक के निकल जाते हैं. That is why I call the cleaning ladies on Monday morning. Because all that dusted ones have to be cleaned so that it is fresh for you to come back next Sunday. We have to process it consciously. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om.